Yes, sir. At once.
Waiting order. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative.
Reporting.
Agreed. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Reporting.
Reporting.
Reporting. Agreed. Agreed. Of course. Very well. Yes, sir. Very well. Agreed. At once. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative. At once. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Acknowledged. Agreed.
Reporting. Affirmative.
Reporting. Affirmative. Affirmative. At once.
Comrade. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Reporting. Very well. At once. Affirmative. Very well.
Reinforcements have arrived.
At once. At once.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Need a jump? Let's dance.
Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Got you in charge.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative.
From the shadows, and now we will make ourselves known.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Soon we will stand invincible.
Acknowledged.
We will stand. Soon
Affirmative. Affirmative.
we will stand.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Awaiting orders.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Awaiting orders. Yes, sir. Very well. Affirmative. Reporting. At once. Affirmative. Very well. At once. Awaiting orders.
Yes, sir.
Awaiting orders.
Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Ready and waiting. Very well.
Reporting. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Awaiting orders. Affirmative. At once. Agreed. Yes, sir.
Reporting. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Very well.
Reinforcements have arrived.
Juice fully charged.
Reporting. At once. Reporting. Very well. Affirmative.
Reinforcements
At
have
once.
arrived. First
Yes, sir.
objective met. 10 minutes remaining.
Awaiting orders. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Yes, sir.
Comrade, acknowledged.
Report. Affirmative. Vehicle report. Acknowledged. Vehicle report. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Reinforcements have arrived.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Waiting
Vehicle
order.
reporting.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Vehicle report. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Awaiting orders. Report. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Vehicle reporting. Reporting. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Vehicle reporting. Affirmative. 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 Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Awaiting
Unit
orders.
lost.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Report. Affirmative. Awaiting orders.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Vehicle
Warning,
reporting.
5 minutes
Yes, sir.
remaining.
Acknowledged. Waiting order. Acknowledged.
Vehicle reporting.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Awaiting orders.
Reporting.
Reporting. Affirmative. Yes, sir.
Warning,
Acknowledged.
4
Affirmative.
minutes
Yes, sir.
remaining.
Acknowledged. Waiting order. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Waiting order. Affirmative. Comrade. Affirmative. Yes, sir.
Unit
Yes,
lost.
sir. Affirmative.
Warning,
Affirmative.
3 minutes remaining. Unit lost.
Yes, sir.
Comrade. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Reporting. Acknowledged.
Vehicle reporting. Vehicle reporting.
Yes, sir.
Reporting.
Yes,
Acknowledged.
sir. Affirmative.
2 minutes
Affirmative.
Naval
Acknowledged.
unit
Yes, sir.
lost.
Affirmative.
Unit lost.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Vehicle reporting. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Comrade. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Reporting. Acknowledged.
Naval unit lost.
Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Warning, 1
Affirmative.
minute remaining.
Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Reporting. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Unit
Awaiting
lost.
orders. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Awaiting orders.
Reporting. Yes, sir.
Reinforcements have arrived.
Affirmative.
Vehicle report. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Naval unit lost.
Comrade. Acknowledged. Reporting. Affirmative. Affirmative. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Yes, sir.
Reinforcements have arrived.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Awaiting orders. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Reinforcements have arrived.
Awaiting
Reporting.
orders.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Comrade. Acknowledged. Waiting order. Acknowledged.
Reporting. Affirmative. Awaiting orders. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Unit
Waiting order.
lost.
Affirmative.
Unit
Waiting
lost.
order.
Yes, sir. Awaiting orders. Affirmative.
Waiting order. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Reporting. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Vehicle reporting. Acknowledged.
Waiting order. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Report. Affirmative. Awaiting orders.
Comrade. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Comrade. Acknowledged.
Ready and waiting. Affirmative.
Very well. Affirmative. At once. Affirmative. At once. Affirmative. 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 Very well.
Unit lost.
Report
Yes, sir.
acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Waiting order.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Ready and waiting. Orders.
Affirmative. Affirmative. Reporting. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Awaiting orders. Very well. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Awaiting or acknowledged.
Comrade. Affirmative. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir.
Waiting order. Affirmative. Acknowledged. At once. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Reporting. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Reporting. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Acknowledged. Very well. Affirmative. At once. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Awaiting. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Reporting. Acknowledged.
Reporting. At once.
Vehicle reporting. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Agreed. Affirmative.
Vehicle reporting. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Vehicle reporting. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Unit lost.
Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Acknowledged.
Unit lost.
Acknowledged.
Yes,
Affirmative.
acknowledged.
Awaiting orders. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Reporting. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Awaiting orders. Affirmative. Vehicle report. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Report. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Ready and
Yes,
waiting.
sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Awaiting orders. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Awaiting orders. Acknowledged. 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 Vehicle acknowledged.
Reporting. At once. At once.
Awaiting affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Acknowledged. Course. Very well. Agreed. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Awaiting orders. Agreed.
Reporting. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Vehicle reporting.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Need a jump? Power on.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir.
Waiting. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Vehicle reporting. Vehicle reporting. Acknowledged.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Awaiting orders. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Vehicle
Affirmative.
reporting.
Affirmative. Awaiting acknowledged.
Vehicle reporting.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir.
Very well.
Agreed.
Comrade. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Awaiting
Very
orders. At once. Yes, sir.
Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Awaiting
Agreed.
orders.
Waiting order. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Very well. Affirmative. Affirmative. Reporting. Affirmative. Affirmative. At once. Very well.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Reporting. At once. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Acknowledged. Agreed. Very well. Affirmative. At once. Affirmative. Agreed. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Very well. Reporting. At once. Very well. Affirmative.
Waiting
Affirmative.
order.
Yes, sir.
Comrade. Affirmative. Yes, sir.
Reporting. Very well. Very well. Agreed.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Reporting. At once.
Reporting. Affirmative.
Awaiting orders. Agreed. Affirmative. At once. Affirmative. Very well. Affirmative. Awaiting orders.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Awaiting orders. At once. Reporting. Affirmative. Very well.
Comrade. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Ready and waiting. At once. Affirmative.
Waiting order.
Awaiting orders. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Waiting order.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Awaiting orders. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Waiting order. Affirmative. Affirmative. Waiting order. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Waiting order. Affirmative. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Vehicle acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Awaiting orders. Vehicle report. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Reporting.
Unit lost.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Reporting. At once.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Vehicle report. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged.
Comrade, acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir.
Vehicle acknowledged. Yes, sir. Awaiting orders. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Vehicle reporting. Awaiting orders. Report acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Reporting. Affirmative.
Awaiting Affirmative. orders.
Comrade. Affirmative.
Vehicle reporting.
Comrade. Waiting order.
Yes, sir.
Reporting. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Comrade. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Comrade. Acknowledged.
Mission accomplished.